I'm Steph Morris and welcome to my YouTube channel. Join me in this series as I travel around the most incredible place I've ever been, India. I'm exploring Asia's largest slum. There's an open sewer, the rubbish is terrible.
It's really so small, and inside the house no toilets.
Mumbai has some of the most expensive properties in the world, including the second most expensive, Antilia, which is just after the Buckingham Palace. This house behind me is 27 floors, 600 staff members and 3 helipads. And what's crazy is only 10 kilometers away is the third biggest slum in the world. Mumbai, or Bombay, is one of the most densely populated cities in the world and has a total population of over 21 million people. There's around 60,000 millionaires that live in the city, and that really shows the drastic wealth inequality when there's over 11 million people that live below the poverty line in the slums. Dharavi slum is probably the most well known, and that's not just because it's a set of Slumdog Millionaire or because it's the biggest slum in Asia, but it's also because of the mind-blowing population density.
Dharavi is a home for 1 million people, and it is spread in 1.8 square kilometer area with a very high density population of 570,000 people per square kilometer. It is one of the most dense in the world actually.
And I had the chance to find out and document the incredible life that goes on in this city within a city.
Where are you from?
UK.
UK.
Yeah, nice to meet you. With the Dharavi resident and guide, Balaji.
In the year 1960s, around this period, people were migrating with the hope of finding job and living. As an island city, Bombay used to be its land was always expensive and taken by knowledgeable and wealthy people. So the poor couldn't find the right place to live. So they simply stayed on the edges that used to be completely swamp and marsh. So this is how the improper, illegal housing begins in the city. Government, they very often try to remove them, but it did not work very well. So at certain point, they had to, stop moving people. Instead, they decided to recognize it. So in 1971, around that period, people were given with basic amenities with water, electricity and sanitation. And in return, the government wanted them to pay bills and taxes. In year 1995, government comes up with a proper project. Those who have been into the slums before 1995, and if they can prove that they've been living in certain places for more than 15 years, they'll be eligible for housing under the rehabilitation program for free. But it wasn't a very successful program because it's not very comfortable for a family of 7 to 8. So people were not really very happy with this kind of housing, but also people were losing the small scale businesses based at home, and they cannot have them in the apartment. So that's when most of the people stopped going into those kind of projects.
Despite the government helping to house many of Dharavi's residents, most people still choose to live in the slum. But in a place where there's no official infrastructure, I wondered how the necessities of human life are provided, if they even are. Things like water.
The water supply is actually following the sewage system. So during the rainy season, it may get contaminated because the water pipes comes under the flood. But people are aware and educated enough to understand that they need to use water filters, chlorine tablet, boil. So they have different options to avoid the infections or anything that they want.
Hello. School and education.
Everything is given at the public school for free. So they don't really need to, go for work.
So people are emphasising the importance of education, and the literacy rate in Dharavi is actually, 69%. And housing.
It's really so small.
How do people find their way?
People grew up here, they live here, so they definitely know their way around.
Wow.
So this is another lane. There are houses here, there are houses over there. There are more houses here, this way. Watch out for the wires.
Yeah, I'm 6 foot, so I think I'd struggle a lot in Dharavi to live here. The alleys we just went through, the really tight ones, those were small houses, and these are the medium-sized houses. Medium.
Yeah. More than 70% of the people live in less than 10 square meter area, with an average of 7 people in one house. And inside the house, no toilets. So usually the toilets are always public toilet, and it is shared by many people. So every day there is a waiting period to use toilet, between 2 to 10 minutes. So your day is decided at the public toilet.
This is how people monitor the electric for them homes. Safe. The definition of slum is a place where people live that has worse living conditions. Or is a dead rat. And I mean, there's an open sewer, the rubbish is terrible. I don't want to romanticise it too much. You remember people are living and growing up here with no shoes or socks. Same for the children playing around.
In a place with such a large population and poor infrastructure, there are many social and environmental issues.
All these holes that you see, a lot of rats.
Balaji explained to me some of the biggest problems in Dharavi.
I've seen a lot of fightings among the different people, groups. It's mostly the waste that is flying over from the dump. What you see is a lot more better. There used to be a pile of garbage dump here many years back.
Does inbreeding happen?
So there can be some genetical problem that lead to having no babies. And it happens.
Is there many problems with disease?
During the rainy season, when everything is wet, nothing dries here. So during those days, we have a problem with water contamination. And then that brings mostly waterborne diseases, mosquito, malaria and things like that.
I think it's also worth remembering that Mumbai has the most expensive real estate in all of India, maybe even in Asia. And that's a stone's throw away. And we're down on this lovely beach area in Mumbai, and behind me is Malabar Hill, which is one of the most expensive real estate in the whole city.
And homes in Malabar Hill can be upwards of $3.5 million US.
Mumbai also has one of the most luxurious hotels in all of India, the famous Taj Mahal Palace.
Even though there's a vast gap in wealth between the residents of Mumbai, the people that I met in Dharavi seemed generally happy.
Do you enjoy living in Dharavi?
I felt there was a strong sense of community in the slum.
Hi.
And I think that the coinciding businesses in the area have a big role to play for that.
Dharavi has more than 70,000 different families. So this includes more than 100 different communities, and they all are from different parts of India. And so of course, when family migrated here, they also came with their skills. And all these skills have developed into many different businesses now. So Dharavi has more than 20,000 different small-scale industries. And altogether now the annual revenue of Dharavi alone is over $1 billion US. Once people were denied to have bank accounts because of the location where people live, but now banks want to be part of the Dharavi's economy. So now we have banks, ATM center, hospital, school, fire station, police station, post office. Almost everything is in Dharavi. So it has become city in a city over the time.
There's a wide variety of businesses in Dharavi.
14 rupees for one set of clothes to be ironed. Yeah, just good price.
But there's three main contributors to the money that's made here. And the first is recycling. Over 60% of Mumbai's plastic waste is recycled in Dharavi, and that's without a government initiative. As a comparison, the UK only recycles 40% of our plastic. And there's over 300,000 people that work in the recycling industry. And some sieve through dangerous waste for $35 US a month.
So this plastic goes directly into the crushing machine right here. So they crush the plastic into pieces like these, and they wash, dry, and then finally smelt it down into a tiny pellets, which is a raw material. But there are businesses within here, they buy this raw material and turn them into a suitcase component like handles, wheels and other things. And there are skilled businesses here who buy this component and turn them into a product. Nobody sees them anymore. It's here.
The scale on this recycling is actually unbelievable.
You purchase it for the raw material and you have to supply to the company for the recycling process.
I didn't expect like the biggest slum in Asia to have the best recycling in India. That's quite amazing to see actually, that a place with less GDP is actually taking more initiative. Whoa, look at the size of this goat.
The second main industry is leatherworks, and the leather that's made here is shipped all around the world.
So let's see all this leather. This is mainly from goat skin, which they send it to the tanning process. So tanning is a process to cure the skin into leather. And once it is turned into leather, it will come into this form with no colors in it. So the colors are sprayed on them and the patterns are imprinted with the machine over there. And these guys have their own brand that is called Dharavi. So Dharavi has now become a brand.
And the third main industry is clay works. There's over 2,500 clay products made here each day.
It retains the temperature. So that's why a lot of restaurants want to use clay pots to serve their dishes, like biryani pots and sometimes yogurt and lassi, and also chai.
It makes me wonder how all these industries function in such small, tight spaces. It's remarkable actually how people adapt to use these spaces to benefit them. I mean, not doing something isn't even an option around here. It's how can we make it work? Everything that people need is here. It's self-sufficient and itself relies on businesses that are local in the area.
Slum is actually an opportunity. It is up to the people that how they use this opportunity to change themselves for good or for the bad. So here most of the people have come out of their difficulties and it has changed over the time. So people have educated here and they have enough knowledge to understand the city very well and go along with the people.
So my brief time in the slum was coming to an end. One thing it's made me realise is that we really don't know how lucky we are. I mean, we have space and clean water and clean surroundings. Initially I thought maybe it would be all doom and gloom, poor sanitation, just rubbish everywhere. I don't want to sugarcoat anything, it is not a clean place. There's poor water quality, open sewerage, but it's a thriving place. There's lots of businesses, people seemed generally happy. I mean, I've only been here for a short period of time, so I can't really say too much on that, but experiencing the way a completely different community lives in these tight spaces was eye-opening and also very humbling, I think. Thanks for watching this episode of my India series. If you enjoyed, please like and comment, that really helps me out. And make sure to subscribe because next week I'm going to break down what it's like to travel around India. I'm going to go through everything that you need to know before you travel to the amazing subcontinent of India.